Thanks for having me. I don't know if you heard me, but I said hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Wendy, and I do represent Singer. And today we are here. And let me go ahead and switch to this camera so that you can see my whole setup here. There is going to be a little glare here. There's not much that I could do about that. But today I am working on the Singer C5950. So it is a computerized machine. It's a pretty sweet little machine. We are talking about troubleshooting today. So I know bad things happen to good people all the time in their sewing room. So hopefully I'm going to walk you through some of those things. If you have some questions, go ahead, put them in. I'll try and get to them. I have a whole little program that I want to try and get through. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So earlier today, I was sewing the machine, and I got to tell you, this little machine, he is a trooper, because I wanted to show you kind of like a bird's nest. So I purposely threaded the machine wrong, and it stitched out fine. I had to mess up the machine like 6 different ways to get it to give me a bird's nest. So I have a bird's nest right now. I'm going to show that to you, and then I'm going to take this all apart, and I'm going to explain why that bird's nest might have happened, and we're going to rethread the machine. So let me pop over here to this camera. So right here you can see this, and I don't know if you can see that hot mess that is underneath the machine. What I need to do is I do need to put that away. So when this happens, you don't want to just yank on the fabric. You do just want to gently lift it up and see and try and cut that away. That's a nice hot mess. Again, I did it on purpose, but there are times that will happen not on purpose. And the main reason for that is because we are not properly threaded. And it is easy when you're in a hurry, or when you went from one fabric to another fabric, when you pop in your bobbin and you may not have put your bobbin in correctly. It happens. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to go here, and we are going to start from the very beginning. I will take out my bobbin case here, and you can see here that I have all kinds of thread stuck in there. So I do need to get all of that out. And hopefully the mess that I made, I do not have to take the stitch plate off. This one is with screws. And then I'm also going to clip my thread at the top of the machine, and we're going to unthread all of this. That is the first thing you need to do. When you have that bird's nest, you need to check everywhere and make sure all of that thread is gone. And then rethread. And to do that, and let me adjust this a little bit so that you can see this. When you put the bobbin in, and this is a plastic bobbin, this is the one that came with the machine. I am a huge advocate for buying the accessories from the brand of machine that you have. So this is a Singer machine. So if I needed more bobbins, I would definitely buy the Singer branded bobbins, because they are specifically made for these machines, and they know that they're going to work. So let me go back to this. I am going to pop this in, and what you want to make sure is that your bobbin is forming a letter P, if you will. So this is the top of my P, and this is the bottom of the P, and that's how you're going to drop this in. This is a drop-in bobbin, and it's a very easy, and I'm trying to keep my hands out of the way. It is a very easy thread there, has a diagram of exactly how you need to thread it. What I have right here, this is a cutter, and my practice is I normally don't break the thread until I have that on, and then I'll cut it. And that's a personal preference. That's just an idiosyncrasy of my own that I do, but feel free to cut it before you put that back on. Okay, so up here, I have this threaded, and we're going to take this off. There are 2 things about spools of thread, so let me try and show you that. Right now I have this on the horizontal, but because of the type of thread that it is, it should actually be on my axillary spool pin. So if you see this thread, do you see how that's wound? on the spool, this is going straight up and down. Okay, so when you have a straight up and down thread, how the thread should come off, you want to have your spool standing up. Okay, so this one and the one that I have on my machine is a Coates and Clark. So that's how that's. And then this one, can you see how it's wound down there? Do you see how it's like a crosshatch going crosswise? So this one is one that you want to have on your horizontal spool pin. It does make a difference on how that thread is coming off the spool. Okay, so back over here, I'm going to take this thread off. And I have right here, I do have my auxiliary spool pin. It's just an additional spool pin that pops in. It does come in your accessories. You can also purchase those from wherever you purchase your Singer machine, from Michael's. They should have extra ones in case you lose it. So I am going to go up, and there is a diagram on the machine up top, and it's hard to see, but it does have a diagram of exactly how you should be threading it. And what you want to do is, I do hold my thread in my right hand the whole time that I'm threading this. So you just want to, so I'm moving my left hand. Do you see how I'm just moving my left hand? I know my arm is in the way. Up through here. And what that does is it puts a little bit of tension on the thread, and then for sure you're getting into those tension discs. Down here I have another one. Okay, and I can feel this. I have some tension on this thread. You also want to make sure that your presser foot is up. When your presser foot is up, that means your tension discs are open. If your presser foot is down, then those tension discs are not open, and then the thread could just sit right in front of the tension discs, and that's not what you want. That is one of the reasons why you may get a bird's nest like that, because it technically wasn't threaded correctly. Okay, so now down here, this one does have a needle threader. Not that you can see it. I'm trying to move my hand out of the way. Gives a quick little snap. And there you have it. I'm also one that wants to make sure that my thread is underneath my foot and towards the back. Okay, so let's double check this. Our yucky part. Let's get this fresh part. Make sure that is down. And there you have it. Nice stitch on the front and the back. Okay. Any questions there?
So we do have a question, Wendy.
Sure.
Someone asked, are all machines use the letter P for bobbins?
For the most part, yes, but I would double check your manual. I would check your manual to be sure, but for every machine that I have ever played with a drop-in bobbin. So there are machines that have a bobbin case, and those usually slide, your bobbin goes into this case, and then the case gets slid into the machine itself. But for the drop-in bobbin, yes, I'm almost always with the letter P. I have never seen a machine personally myself, I could be wrong, that would go in the other direction. That's a great question. Okay, so we also have some other things that we want to take a look at. And sorry, I had to take a breath. So some other troubleshootings, what you may get is what's called skipped stitches. So as you're stitching, it doesn't form a complete stitch, or it skips a stitch. And that could be multiple reasons. One, you're threading. Anytime you have an issue, I'm going to be honest, the first thing I check is my threading. And when I change my top, if I have to rethread my top, I'm automatically going to thread my bobbin thread. My bobbin thread is affected by my top thread. So they have to intertwine with each other properly. So that whenever there's an issue, that's the first thing I do. Skip stitches. The second thing I will check is my needle. If your needle has a slight bent in it, and most of the time we will not see that to our naked eye, you would just like feel the curve, Or if it has a burr on it, you'll feel that little burr. It'll feel kind of rough, or it'll feel like something is attached to the needle that's not really there. Again, very hard to see with our naked eye, but that is another sure sign of skip stitches. The other thing for skip stitches could possibly be that you're not using the proper needle. There are lots of different needles, and I'm stretching here so I can show you some needles. There are different needles for different applications. So if you have a denim, you definitely want to use a denim needle because that eye is larger and it is a heavier, it's a heavier needle itself. There are different sizes of needles. This one just happens to be a 116. So if you are the type of person that likes to sew your denim jeans with that gold thread, that iconic gold thread, that is a heavier weight needle thread. So you would want a needle to accommodate that. So this is going to accommodate the denim and that heavier thread. Okay. Then there's also your universal needles. And when people hear the word universal, they think it's good for everything. It is not necessarily good for everything. I honestly am not sure why they use the word universal. It can be used in a lot of applications. So that again, those come in different size needles, comes from all the way from a 65 up to, I want to say, a 100. And then you start getting in top stitch needles, and top stitch can go all the way up to 120. I don't want to confuse you too much about needles, but we do have a good explanation on the Singer website about our needles, when to choose a needle to a fabric. It's a great resource. I would go ahead and check that out. It's under articles, under all articles. If you're sewing a stretch is different than a woven. So a stretch fabric, as many of you may already know, a stretch, a woven, it won't have that. You see, it's kind of crisp. There are different needles for that. Depending on what kind of knit you're sewing, there's either a stretch needle or a ballpoint needle. And what the ballpoint needle will do is, when it penetrates the fabric, it moves the fibers aside to create the stitch, where opposed to when you're sewing with a woven, it's actually going through the weft and the warp of the weave of the woven. Does that make sense? So that's going to make a huge difference too, is using the proper needle. So yeah, there's that. I thought there was a question. Yeah, I do apologize for the camera issues. I know it's flickering. We were trying to correct that issue before. So that's another reason for your stitches are skipping. So what other issues might you have? Issues like my fabric is being pulled into my throat plate. So let's take a look at this throat plate. So right now, my throat plate, and let me take this off. If you can see this is called a zigzag stitch plate. For some machines, you have an option for a single hole stitch plate, meaning that there would just be a single hole here. If you were sewing something with small corners or some sheer fabric, and I'm just pulling for some. If you're sewing delicate fabrics or something like that, a lot of times it could just get sucked into the machine. One, because you're not using the proper needle and it's pushing, and that needle could be pushing it in. So again, we go back to needles a lot. Or that fabric is so fine, when it gets pushed in, it just gets sucked in from the machine. What you can do for that is, I have here, this is just a stabilizer. So if you just tear off a little piece of stabilizer, and this is just a tearaway stabilizer. Some would use tissue paper, but if you use tissue paper, I would have to double that, because again, the tissue paper with a thin fabric could also get pulled into that throat plate as well. So I like to just pull some stabilizer, or you can use a piece of scrap fabric. And these are what we call leaders. And what we do is we would put this behind the fabric, and we would technically start sewing on the leader, and it leads us into that fabric. So let me go ahead and finish that off. This machine does have a thread cutter on the side, but my hand is going to get in the way, so I'll just use my scissors. So, and I also want to show you this. Do you see that? This is another troubleshooting issue. This has a wave to it. And what's happening there is because this is a stretch fabric and only one of the feed dogs is, you have your bottom feed dogs, and that's pulling that fabric through. So if you had a walking foot attached, what that will do is give you technically feed dogs on the top and the bottom. So what will happen is without a walking foot, your feed dogs are doing this. It's pulling in your fabric, right? And then if you put a walking foot on, you have this action. So you're getting an even feed from the top and the bottom, and that will help eliminate all of those ripples in a stretch fabric. It also works even on a sheer woven fabric, because that too can ripple because of the weight of the fabric. Some people think that the walking foot is for quilting only. I use it for lots of things. I will, like I said, I'll use it for my knits. I will use it for my slippery fabrics. Sometimes I'll just use it on a woven depending on what I'm working on. So having a walking foot is a great benefit to help correct some of the issues that you may be having. Okay.
Hey, Wendy.
Yes, ma'am.
We have another question that I missed earlier. Someone said the thread has not been placed into the last guide. Does that matter?
It depends on the machine. So those guides are there for a reason. They may not be actual tension, but they are there for a reason to guide that thread for it to go into the proper place. So I'm going to say yes. I think it does make a difference. So I would just make sure it's all threaded properly.
And someone also asked, how long should you keep a needle in before it needs to be replaced?
That is a wonderful question. So we hear all kinds of people. I will tell you, I'm an educator and I travel a lot, and I get asked that all the time. For me, I'll be honest, I don't know how long my needles are in because I change them so often. So like I said, it goes back to the fabric that you're using. So if I am sewing on a knit, one day, and then I come to my machine 2 days later or 3 days later or however long later, I don't remember how long I used that needle for. So I switch them out quite frequently to match my fabric. But it is common to say for 6 to 8 hours of full sewing is how long that needle should last. Do we all take it a little bit further than that 6 to 8? Yes, we all do. I'm not going to lie to you, but the recommended is 6 to 8. To keep track of your needles, if you are someone who you're not in your sewing room very often, or you sew on the occasion, instead of just throwing that needle away because you're not sure how long it is, there are things that you can pick up, and I believe Michael's has it. It's a little square cushion thing, and it's numbered, so it says like Universal 80, Microtech 90, things like that, and you could just take that needle out and stick it in there when, like, before you leave your machine, take it out and stick it in there. That way it'll be there and you can use it again. But that is a great question. Yeah, 6 to 8 hours of full sewing. Okay. Any questions? Any other questions?
Yes, we have a couple more. As far as the machine, how do they need to get it professionally cleaned, or is it self-lubricating? Like how should they clean their machines?
All right, that is a great question. I was going to save that for later, but since that question is out there in the open, you do want to, if you are someone like me, I sew almost every day, again, because that's part of my job. So I get mine serviced about every 6 months because I'm on it all the time. On a regular basis, you do want to have it serviced maybe once a year. And as for the oiling, it all depends on your machine. Some machines are self-lubricated, some are not. So this Singer that I'm working with today, the C5950, I know that one is not self-lubricating, so you would need to look in the manual and find out exactly where you need to oil it and when it needs to be oiled. Okay, so some machines, it'll say, 8 to 10 hours of sewing. Some will say a little bit longer, some may say less. It all really depends on the particular machine that you have. And if your machine is not running properly, just like your car, if your car's not properly lubricated with oil, it's going to break down on you, and that's what's going to happen to your machine. And you don't want that to happen. So you do also want to do some cleaning in between your services. So just like you saw all of that thread in the beginning of this program, that I had all that thread in there, I knew it wasn't too bad because I set it up that way, but I would have normally taken off the stitch plate. And you do get a little brush that comes with your machine to clean out the bobbin area, and you could take the bobbin case out. So this is the little brush that comes with it. I personally prefer to use a makeup brush, a soft makeup brush. I thought I grabbed it, but again, we had technical issues today, so my room is just a hot mess because of that. But anyway, a soft makeup brush, it doesn't have to be an expensive one. It could come from the dollar store. Just make sure it's a softer one, because that can get a little bit further into the area that you're trying to clean out. So you want to do that. Do not use canned air. Canned air is the enemy to the machine. One, it gets in there, and what happens is it blows all that dust, lint, and threads back into the motors of the machine, opposed to getting it pulled out. So that's a no-no. Don't use that. It also can dry out the oils that you may have put in there. So again, not good. There are vacuum cleaner attachments that you can get that go onto the hose of your vacuum cleaner, and you can actually use a little vacuum to clean it out. You want the lint and stuff to come out, not get pushed back in. So yeah, that's a great question. Servicing, if you find that you've changed your needles, you've cleaned out the bobbin area, you've rethreaded your machine a few times, and you're still not having any luck, then before you take it to the service department, I will tell you, change your tensions. Up here, you have a tension dial. And I know that some people say, oh, you shouldn't be touching that. You shouldn't touch that. It is okay to touch your tension dial. And that can result in bunching of stitches, not necessarily skip stitches, but it could bunch up the fabric if you're not sewing with the right tension. You want your bobbin and your needle thread to connect in the middle, and they need to form properly, and that's what a tension will do. So if you're sewing with, and I'm just going to throw some examples out there. So if one day I'm sewing a denim and I'm using a heavier weight thread, and it works out perfectly, but then the next day I come in, I change my needle for let's say a sheer knit, not just a knit, but a sheer knit. Well, that's a different weight. So yes, the first thing I'm going to do is change my needle, but I might get a different stitch formation with the tensions that I have for the denim. So you just adjust your dials to figure out which way it's going to go. If you're not sure, always do a simple sew out on whatever fabric your final project is going to be made out of. Because that is going to make a difference too. Don't pull out a scrap piece of fabric from the garbage can and say, oh, let me test it on this. It's going to work differently on that. If between this and a sweatshirt fleece, do you see they hang differently? They're two different kinds of fabrics. So don't be afraid to touch your tensions. 4 seems to be a good jumping off point of tension. I will tell you, most of the time, I do not need to touch my tensions, but sometimes I do if I'm going through something thicker or something thinner. This machine can also drop its feed dogs and do free motion. So if you notice that you're getting eyelashes, I don't have a sample of what eyelashes are, but if you have eyelashes or you notice that you start having little loops on the top of your fabric when you're doing free motion, then yes, you will need to adjust your tensions. If you want to get into free motion, I do highly suggest taking a class in free motion, because that instructor will be able to go more in depth of how to adjust your tensions and know what to look for. So great questions.
Okay, and I have two more.
Oh,
On the subject of fabric, is there a specific type of needle that needs to be used on stretch fabric?
yes, you either want to use what's called a stretch needle or a ballpoint needle. As I mentioned earlier, when you do a ballpoint needle, what happens is when it penetrates the fabric, it opens up those the interlocking of it, and it goes in between that interlocking. If you were to use now some people use a universal. You could try it. I don't recommend it. I've seen someone use a microtech needle, and a microtech needle is a very pointy needle. It's very sharp, very pointy. And if you use that on a knit, what can happen is, because that sharp point, it could snag your knit fibers. So not good for microtechs. Microtechs are really good for something like a batiste, or even just a woven, something like that. But yeah, I strongly urge you to try and get to that website and check out that needle guide, because it's so very helpful. It's on it, you know, it shows you, tells you what fabrics, and then it tells you what needle you should be using it. So yeah, that all does make a difference.
Hey, Wendy, I just posted that in the chat. I posted
Awesome.
of our needle guide, and I'm also going to find Sonny had done a class in the past for specifically needles and feet, so I'm going to post that link in the chat as well. Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Okay, you guys grab that link while you have it. Just copy it, and then you can paste it later. And then I would, if you're new to sewing, I would bookmark that, because it is a very great, wonderful resource. Okay, any other questions? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on. So there's other issues that you may have. This particular machine has some decorative stitches on it. So we have some satin stitches. We have blanket stitches. What else do we have there? We just have some fun decorative stitches. So sometimes you may have an issue with the decorative stitch. And let's go ahead, and I'm going to choose one. And I'm going to do a stitch out. So, oops. I need to go to my menu. Sorry. Forgot how to use my menu. Where's my decorative stitches? Well, shoot, I wanted to bring up a decorative stitch. Let's see. Let me see if that one will work. Yeah, this one will work. So let me go here. So I brought up stitch number 11. And it is a decorative stitch. Now this one's not as, if you can see what's happening, do you see, if you can look and see that the fabric here, that's buckling. So this is kind of like a blanket stitch. This is a stitch that you would possibly use for something like applique. Well, let me go ahead and put that. So do you see how that stitch is? And it's kind of buckling. So let me hold it up here. Okay, when that happens, all you need to do is just add a piece of stabilizer. Anytime you're doing decorative stitches, it is best to use a stabilizer behind it, and just a tearaway will work. And I know Michael's has stabilizer. You can also use a couple layers of tissue paper if that's what you have on hand. I prefer the stabilizer because that's what it's made for. So let me go ahead and switch back to this camera, and we'll do another stitch so that you can see how different it's going to stitch out. This machine here also has a speed control, which is super nice. I'm a fast sewer. Okay. So now can you see the difference? Let me bring it up here. Can you see the difference? How this one is laying nice and flat and this one not so much. And it also, if you get close, I'm gonna try and get this really close. Can you see the difference between the formation of those stitches? Do you see how this one up here without the stabilizer looks like it is a double stitch, so it stitches on top of each other and it comes back, but you can definitely see that it does that. It almost looks like there's two stitches there. Down here, it looks like one heavier stitch, and this is what it should look like. It should be a heavier stitch. So if you are sewing something like a satin stitch, I know we have satin stitches on this machine, which is fun to play with as well. You definitely want to make sure that you have a stabilizer behind it to keep that fabric flat. When you're sewing out the alphabets, there is a sew out alphabet on this machine as well. So if you need to label your underwear or something like that for camp or whatever, you want to use stabilizer behind that because your needle is going in slightly different directions, and you want to make sure that that fabric stays nice and flat. Okay, let's see, what else do we have? Any other questions?
Hey,
So,
Wendy,
go ahead.
Sorry, the thread keeps snapping. Not sure why.
Okay, so if your thread is snapping, and I'm going to say this again, your needle, you may have an issue with the needle, so check that. Also, you want to make sure that you're using good quality thread, like Coats and Clarks or Gutermann. If you find some spools of thread on sale, 2 for $1.99, I'm going to say no. Run from that because you're getting what you're paying for. So you want to make sure that you're getting a good quality thread. So thread at a garage sale or at an estate sale, just say no. You don't know how long it's been there because thread does have, it can dry rot. And if you're not sure how that thread was stored, it may not have been stored properly. It could have came from someone who hasn't sewed for maybe 20 years and it just sat maybe in an attic or even worse, a basement. So thread has a lot to do with that. If it keeps breaking, then also check how your needle is inserted. If your needle is not inserted all the way up, it's hanging a little bit lower than what it should, that too is going to snap your thread. So check that needle. And of course, I'm always going to say rethread the top, rethread your bobbin as well. Does that help?
And someone else did ask, how do you know when you should adjust your tension?
That is a great question. So if you start seeing loops on the top or the bottom as you're sewing, let me see if I can try and recreate something bad. I'm gonna try. Like I said earlier today, I did not have such luck. So let's see if I can try and recreate a bad stitch. I did change my tension. Oops. And do you see what I did here? We locked up. So I need to do some troubleshooting, right? So first thing I need to do is I need to check this. And it kind of got sucked in. Okay, so let me check everything. And we're going to go back to, I'm going to go back to stitch 1, which is my center needle position. It's just a straight stitch. Let's go back to that. I am not in a thread guide that I noticed down here. So we're going to check that. Rethread. And let's see if I could do a bad example of a stitch. I changed the tension. I took it down to 1. And that's an issue. See what's happening there? That is an issue. So now I have an error on my machine. So that tension obviously is not working for me. So that's a sure sign that I need to adjust that. And I have a real hot mess. And this happens. Turn the hand wheel towards you to release that. Make sure that your presser foot is up. You'll be surprised at how many people try and pull that out without lifting their presser foot. That is something you need to do. So I was at tension 1 on the dial here. And now I'm going to go the other extreme and go to 6. And then let's see what we get there. And we're locking up there as well. Okay. Pull that all out. So I'm trying to do a bad example for you. I'm good there. Trying to do a bad example for you. I'll take you back to 4. Straight stitch. And I'm obviously something else must be wrong. And this is good. That's what we're here for, right? For troubleshooting. So again, I'm going to clip my thread and I'm going to pull it out this way. You don't want to just yank your thread off the machine because that could pull on some of your tension discs. And I am just switching thread here. It could pull off a tension disc. The other thing that you want to keep an eye on is these spools. This is a Gutermann, and this is where you can tuck your thread into to keep it from going wild on you while it's in storage. I put my thread in a drawer, so that's what that is for. You also want to keep an eye on that as you're sewing. You want to look at that, so because your thread could accidentally get caught on that as you are sewing. Okay, I'm also putting my thread on top of my machine here, and my thread is coming over. And this time I told you I'm using the horizontal position because that thread, the way it's wound on the spool, I'm gonna put on a little spool cap. And I know my hand is going to be in the way. I'm sorry. But we're going to go ahead and rethread the machine. Got one here. Got one there. So back to how do I know when I need to adjust the tensions? A sure sign is that you will have loops on the top or the bottom of your seam. So just check both. It might have a skip stitch. The other thing that you want to keep in mind is to have a good stitch out, and I'm just checking in there, make sure there's no thread in there. It does work out better if your top and bobbin, your top thread and your bobbin thread are of the same weight. So wind a bobbin with whatever thread that you're going to be sewing with. There are times that you can use other threads. I know sometimes when I use a heavier weight thread in the needle, I will use a top stitch needle. Let's say a 30 weight thread. A 30 weight thread is it's a heavier thread. Just know that the lower the number of the thread, the thicker it is. So if I'm using a 30 weight thread, and not all machines like using a 30 weight thread in the needle, but I know mine do, they work out fine. I'll use a 110 top stitch needle because that eye is a lot bigger. It works out really nice with some of those decorative stitches because it really defines them. You want to lengthen your stitch length for those decorative stitches so that you're not cramming all these stitches, because the thread is going to take up more space, even though it's just that a little bit thicker than a 40 weight thread. Your Gutermanns, your coats, those threads are normally a 40 weight thread. So you want to lengthen your stitch length a little bit and do a test out on your fabric. So back to what I was saying, sometimes I will use a lighter weight thread in the bobbin when I have such a heavier weight in the top. That way they're compensating each other for it, and most of the times I don't need to adjust my tensions for that. So that's one thing, but for the most part I try and use the same weight thread, especially for garments construction and things like that. You do not want to put a 30 weight or a heavier weight thread in your bobbin. That goes to a different technique called bobbin work, and you would need to have a specialty bobbin for that, and not all machines have that specialty bobbin to accommodate that. And if you did want to do bobbin work, you would have to wind that bobbin, yourself, like literally wind that thread on the bobbin yourself because it's thicker. And then you would need to make adjustments to your bobbin area as well. But I don't want to go too much into that. I just want to tell you, it can be done for decorative purposes, but on a regular basis, do not put a 30 weight in your machine. Also, you don't want to put a hand quilting thread in your machine as well, because most of the time those have a wax on it, and that wax, as it's going through the machine, is going to start to peel off, and it's going to be in your machine, and it's not going to play nice with the mechanics of the machine. So don't do that. But okay. So I changed my tensions back. Let me grab a little piece of fabric here. Yep, here's one. We'll do this. I rethreaded everything. Let's just make sure we are good. Even though I have two different colors. So while it's sewing, I'm going to go ahead and adjust these tensions a little bit and see if I can get something that doesn't look nice. And so far, it's all looking pretty nice. Wouldn't you know it? I guess that's a testament to the machine. Let me look on the back here. So what's happening here is, and this is a good thing because I'm using pink in the bobbin and I have blue on the top. And if you look closely here, when I changed the tension, do you see? I can see the bobbin thread. And that's not what you want to see. You don't want to see the bobbin thread coming to the top. Okay. If you're using the same color thread, you wouldn't know necessarily that that is happening, but the stitch is going to look a little different. And it also, and from me looking at it like this, and I don't know if you can see it, it looks smaller, but the stitch really isn't. What's happening is that thread, the bobbin thread, is coming up. So it's making the stitch look a little different. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do one more test stitch out. I'm going to start with 4, and I'm going to try and mess this up. And I'm going to start stitching, and now I'm going to change my tension in the other direction. I'm going to go down. And I've changed it. Now I'm going to go to 1. And now I'm going to take a look at this stitch and see what I have. Okay, so if you see this, oh, we're on there. Do you see how those stitches are not even? They're not flat. They're on a slant. Now I was sewing straight, so that's how the stitches is forming. So that tells me I need to up my tension. And let's look at the back. And then on the back, do you see the little blue dots? That means that's your top thread. Too much of it is coming. It's coming to the back. So if you're not sure, a good idea is to go ahead and put 2 different thread colors on your machine so that you can have a very definite idea of, what am I seeing here? So if I go back to 4, okay. Oh, I thought I was on this camera. Sorry. So if I go back to 4, you can see I don't have the pink dots coming up, and I don't have, oops, it caught my little thread. And I don't have necessarily, I do have a few little blue dots. Am I looking at the right step? That's because I'm not even looking at the right one. That one. So, oops. You can see that the stitch looks a little different. And if I adjust the tensions, I probably wouldn't have those blue dots there. So does that help? It does make a difference. So if you're unsure, put 2 different color threads in and give it a test out on the fabric that you're getting ready to make your project on. Any other questions out there? Yes, they did paste the Singer needle guide, and it's a valuable piece of information. I'm not going to lie, I've been sewing for many years, and sometimes I still refer to it because I don't sew on all kinds of unusual fabrics all the time. I may, it may be a once in a while kind of thing that I'll pick up a pleather to make a costume or something of it. What's the best needle for that? So great resource there. Any other questions? Okay, so I see an answer, but I don't know what the question was. Anything, is there anything else? Any other question that you could think of? So I do want to tell you that there is one other thing I wanted to tell you. Sometimes your fabric starts to bunch up behind the needle, and that could happen. So I'm going to start stitching here. Let's go here. I'm going to start stitching, and let's see if it'll happen for me. I have a reverse button, and your reverse button will, what people call is a back tack or a reverse stitch. Okay. And if you're sewing and then you reverse, oops, you go too far and see, I'm not in the fabric right now, and then I try to come back. Sometimes that could be, so I didn't do it this time. Sometimes that could suck the fabric in as well. So when you're doing your reverse stitch, come forward a few and then, watch how far you're going back. So especially if I was using a thin fabric, I know for sure that would have bunched up underneath or got sucked in because it was off the fabric and trying to come back on. So watch how you do your reverse as well.
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Someone asked, can you give an estimation on how repair costs, how much a professional repair cost can be?
That really depends on who you go to. There are different levels of repair pricing compared, because you have a mechanical machine with the dials. This one that I have here is considered computerized. And then you have your top of the line machines that are very much computerized that have like computer chips in it. So it really depends on who you take it to. But I'm going to say for a cleaning, I'm going to say an average is just for basic cleaning is about $99, $100, something like that from what I know. But if there's an issue with the machine and the cleaning doesn't take care of the woes, of course it could go up because then they have to figure out what is wrong with the machine. And that is going to take them some time. So it really depends on if it's just a flat cleaning or if you're taking it in for an issue. And if you're taking it in for an issue, make sure you let them know what the issue is. And if you could take samples of what you were sewing in with you to show them what was happening, that is going to be a great benefit to the service tech as well. That's a good question. Any other questions?
Hey, Wendy, everyone is loving the class. They're learning so much. They want it to go on for 2 hours. They think you're teaching us everything we need to know. I just wanted to add and let everyone know I am going to drop a link in the chat that has links to all of our past classes that we've hosted with Michaels. It has links to our past class, our present class, and our future classes that we have available for sign up. So if you all want to use that, it's a great tool. It has classes for techniques, classes for specific machines, and classes for specific projects. So just wanted to let everyone know that.
Wonderful.
And I do have another question about thread. Someone says, my thread says all purpose, but my machine manual says do not use below 30 weight. How do I know what all purpose is?
Okay, I can tell you an all-purpose is normally a 40 weight thread. That is what we consider, like this one is called dual duty. Again, it's an all-purpose. So on the top of your spools, and this one doesn't, but on the top of the spools, I'm trying to see if it does have it on there. It should tell you, especially specialty threads, and I'm looking and I don't see it on this one, especially on specialty threads, it will tell you on the cap itself, or, and I shouldn't do this, but I'm gonna pull this out. I'm gonna see if my Gudeman has it on there. And my Gudeman does not have it on there either. But to be honest with you, most of the time, your construction threads, they are a 40 weight, and just check the spool. And if it says NO12, that means number 12. That's an indication that it's a 12 weight thread. So therefore your machine wouldn't be happy with that weight thread, because it is a thicker thread.
Okay, and someone else asked earlier when you were demonstrating on paper, is it bad to sew on paper? Could it damage the needle, kind of paper versus fabric type of deal?
No, I'll be honest with you. That is how a lot of children learn how to sew, is they will take notebook paper and there will be like a diagram on it that they need to follow for like pivoting and things like that. So no, it's not a bad thing to sew through paper. The thing is, everyone is so skeptical about cutting paper with their sewing scissors. I can tell you that silk is going to dull your scissors faster than a paper will. So same thing for the needle. Silk is a very tough fabric. That is a tough fiber, and it will dull things sooner. So if you are someone who's sewing with a lot of natural, real 100% silk, you may want to change your needles more often than if you were like a quilter's cotton or something like that. But what I was sewing on, this is not, it's not paper per se. It is fibers that are kind of fused together. It is a stabilizer. It is meant for sewing. But if you need to resort to like notebook paper or something like that to use as your stabilizer, I personally don't have an issue with it. I'm sure I've done that in the past. I know for sure in the past I've used tissue paper. So no, I don't think it's not gonna hurt your machine any. That's a good question. Anything else? I'm here. Take advantage of me while I still got 2 more minutes.
Someone asked about a titanium needle, how to and when to use it.
Okay, titanium needles, they are meant for speed. So if you're using an industrial machine, I would use a titanium needle, because again, it's meant for speed. If you had an embroidery machine, embroidery machines can embroider quite fast. So that is when I would use a titanium needle. For my regular quilting, if doing my piecing, for my garment sewing, things like that, I don't think I would necessarily use a titanium needle. They do cost a little bit more. Just because it's titanium doesn't mean it's going to go through your heavier fabrics easier. It's what it's meant for. It is meant for speed. That's what those are used for. So if you're not using an industrial machine, or if you're not doing machine embroidery, I just, your standard needle will work out just fine.
Hey, really quick, Wendy, can you tell the difference? So someone asked, Marie asked, is there a sewing machine that can be used for sewing and also cut and hem edge, like thread serger and sewing together? So I always like to, I'm sure you've heard Sonny share this example, but the oven versus the microwave kind of example for a sewing machine versus a serger, if you want to share that.
Yeah, those are 2 different machines. Now, I will tell you that the machine that I am working on, it does have what's called overcast stitches. So it will give kind of the look of a serger, but it is not going to cut your fabric off and finish off the edges. A serger, yes, a serger will do that. It uses multiple needles, and it also has loopers. So, and that is a machine that is built for speed. I would not necessarily say that your sewing machine is going to be able to do more than a serger will. For the most part, on a serger, it is straight stitching, and you have maybe 26 stitches, and 3, 4 of them are kind of the same. It just, if it's a 1 needle or using 2 needles in the loopers, it just determines the width of the final of the stitch. But yeah, they are two totally different things. They do go hand in hand. If you are a garment sewer and you have a 4-thread overlock, let me tell you, I use that thing to make up pajama pants when my children were little. You know, I had to make them new pajama pants every single year because, you know, between the shrinkage of the flannel and the growth, I had that down to 45 minutes with the serger. And it's, you can construct things with the serger. I have been known to do quilt as you go with a 4-thread overlock serger, but you're not going to get your decorative stitches. You're not necessarily going to get your piecing. So if you're a quilter, I mean, you could do piecing with it, but yeah, they are two separate machines, but they do go hand in hand. But there is not a sewing machine that offers the clean cutting with a blade. But a sewing machine, most of them will offer, like I said, the overlock or the I should say the overcasting stitching. So it will finish off that edge it'll give a nice cover on the edge. It just won't trim the fabric. So good question. Oh, you are so welcome, Rachel. Okay, so my needle isn't picking up my bobbin. Suggestions. Okay, so if it's not picking up your bobbin, then double check and make sure that your needle is all the way up. If you did check that and it's not all the way up, you may want to take that in for service because it may be out of time. And with the machines that we have now, it's very rare that it's out of timing, but it could still possibly happen. So again, check that. Oh, and I wanted also your needle, make sure that you're not using an overlock needle in your sewing machine. Because that does make a difference. Those are a little bit longer than a sewing machine needle. So if you accidentally picked up overlocker needles instead of sewing machine needles, that could have a difference too. But if taking the needle out and making sure that it's fully inserted, that doesn't help, take that to your tech and see if the timing is off. Okay. Thank you. I will be here in November actually for another class doing an embroidery project with the embroidery machine. So yeah, I hope you tune in for that one. I don't think it's posted yet. But yeah, definitely check out that video. Any other questions? Awesome. I look forward to seeing you there. Oh, you guys are welcome. Thank you for having me. I hope there was some takeaway from this. I know I was a little all over the place, just a little scattered brain because of the technical issues that we had earlier, but we're good.
All right, I guess we can end it here.
Right.
Thank you so much, Wendy, and we'll see everyone again soon. Bye.
Thank you.